Sorry, I had missed it.
Oh, I said you can get them at the market of choice or the food court.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm good. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Philomath Inclusivity Ad Hoc Committee meeting on March 22nd, 2022. It is 5:52 p.m. We had to start a little late. We had some scheduling and technical difficulties. Things will be a little different this time. I'm a city councilor and I will actually be hosting the meeting, facilitating the meeting instead of our community members who aren't elected. So let's do attendance. We have official committee members, Councillor Teresa Nielsen, Mayor Chaz Jones, Zena Allen, Cindy Conrad, and Maeve Dempsey and Christopher McMorrin, our newly adopted official committee member.
Indeed.
And we have Van Hunsicker today, who is an unofficial committee member. Welcome, Van. And City Manager Chris Workman, we have him as well. So looking at the minutes, does anyone approve, or is there anything that needs to be changed on the minutes, or is everyone good with them? Okay, it looks like we have consensus, so the minutes have now been approved. So now next, we're going to go back to the topic that we spoke about, or that was on the agenda for our last meeting in February that we were unable to get to because we had to cancel the meeting. And that would be the review of the social service agency funding policy. So the city council tasked us with reviewing it, and there have been several considerations that they sent to us to try to incorporate into the policy. And our job, like I said, is to send any recommended changes their way. And I will share my, can I share my screen? I will share my screen now. Does, I guess off the bat, is there anything, oh, this isn't the one I wanted, my apologies. Not that one, this one. Sorry, I have my crappy mouse today. Okay. There it is. Okay, so I tried to incorporate some of those suggestions from council or considerations from council into this policy, and some of the recommendations that had been made by a couple of our Inclusivity Committee members. And I I guess, does anyone have any large ideas about this edited version, um, or the original? And yeah, I should open it. Sorry, I haven't facilitated a meeting before. uh,
Jessica, can you increase the size of can you zoom in on your document?
yeah, let me make sure I can see everyone first. Okay. So I guess we'll start with the purpose to formally establish a policy for the allocation of social service funding, specify the annual allocation amount, and establish a criteria for awarding funds. And so this, I didn't change anything and haven't heard that there should be any suggestions to it. Does anyone have any thoughts on this, or should we keep it as is?
The A should be deleted before criteria.
Thank you.
I would change including mental health. That should just kind of a given.
Sorry, where?
Setting priorities.
Oh, yes.
And health, including mental health. I would just say including,
Including what?
Better health and wellness, just as a broader thing, because
I see. Yes, that makes sense. Thank you.
Should we just say improving health and wellness?
That sounds even better.
I guess. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
I just had a sort of a question, I guess, on like the setting priorities bit. Like what are sort of our goals with that? Because like what if there's an organization that doesn't strictly meet those categories?
Well, yeah, that's definitely that needs to be a larger conversation, because that was the majority of what I had struck from here.
Right, yeah.
And so I guess the original text says, if it's difficult for people to see through the crossing out of the text, periodically the city council will review the needs of the city and set priorities for funding. Changes in priorities shall be made by amendments to this council policy. The current social service funding priorities are those strategies found in the Philomath Strategic Plan for Community and Economic Development, objectives found in the Philomath City Councils, thus continuing support of those social service programs currently receiving city funding, i.e. Council of Governments, Elderly Nutrition Program, and Philomath Community Services. And so I had said that I had highlighted this area saying that the strategic plan and the objectives are not relevant because we don't have those, we don't have any of that really included in our strategic plan or in our goal setting. And it might not be there at other times as well. And so I thought it more important to include actual priorities that we can all get behind, because it's not outlined very well in the strategic plan. I don't know if any of you have seen it before besides the council members and myself. I think last time I checked, the link was broken, so I have to send it to get fixed.
Yeah, I think it's actually important to keep that first sentence that you have deleted there. Actually, the first two sentences that you have deleted, I think you probably could delete the parts that are after Philomath strategic plan. But I do think that we do identify several things in the strategic plan that are relevant to this and that emphasize things that we wanted to support. And I don't have the strategic plan in front of me, but I also think it's more appropriate to change a strategic plan more regularly than changing the policy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's fun. I will. What's going on? Yeah, sorry. I don't know what's going on. I will. So up here, have it. So are you saying to move these first two sentences back to the beginning?
I haven't gotten that part yet, but I do think
That they should be included.
undeleting the next sentence up to the word strategic plan, the words.
You said deleting up to the strategic plan?
And undeleting the section that says the current social service funding priorities.
Uh-huh.
Are those strategies found in the strategic plan?
Okay, and everything after it then
I think could be deleted after the
in
plan,
that sentence. Okay.
but that's just me.
No, I think that
Keep that.
makes sense. I think the only additional change I might suggest there would just be changing the phrasing to be current social service funding priorities include those strategies found in the Philomath strategic plan. So making it a little less definite. So just getting rid of the, and then changing are to include.
Sorry, I'm not the fastest at this.
No,
Where
you're
to
good.
include?
In between priorities and those strategies, change the are to include.
Thank you. Any thoughts on these changes or any other parts of?
I would change finding solutions to homelessness, houselessness. I would change that to combating sorry.
No, you're good.
Combating instead of finding a solution, combating homelessness issues and housing insecurities. I mean, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of just problems around like urgency of housing, and not just people that are homeless, but those who live with that extraordinary, one paycheck away from being homeless,
Definitely. That's an excellent point, Zena. Cindy?
I like all these changes so far. The one word that's throwing me is notions of equity, inclusion, and diversity. And I wonder if it wouldn't be better to say practices of equity, diversity, and inclusion.
That's perfect. Thank you.
And then could we just get rid of the in front of practices?
Yes.
There's like, oh, these are the 5 equity practices you need.
And yeah, for whatever reason, I'm unable to move that last bullet, the periodically, but my guess is that it should be above awards will be given to organizations. I'll have to try to do that at another point. Are there any other initial thoughts?
I think the sections A and B feel awkward where they're located. I think they're necessary, but placing them where they are after the city priorities feels awkward to me. You see the A and
Okay.
B?
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
It's under, yeah, you see those sections A and B under that. I think the
Mhm.
I think the information is important, but locating where they're located as a subset of those setting priorities feels awkward.
mhm.
Like that information should be before the awards will be given, because requested funds should be used to support rather than I just think the location.
So maybe under application requirements,
Don't
or
you think? I think it just feel must be used to support. That would make sense. At least that one part.
because
Or-
those are essentially the requirements that,
Mhm.
Sorry, where? After set, before here?
It could go before setting priorities, because requested funds shall be used and get rid of the A. We could put it there, or we could put it under the application requirements. Either one.
Down at the
Whatever.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It would
Okay.
work under application requirements.
Application requirements, correct.
Okay, which section again?
It's section A.
Yeah,
It's-
no, I cut it. I cut that section already,
Okay.
but where along the application requirements were you suggesting to put it?
Could we put it before the city will release an RPF? Could it go before that?
Sure. Like that?
Yeah, could we get rid of the A piece though? I don't think it needs to have a subset A, if that makes sense. You see how you have
Yeah.
I don't think we need the A, B thing. And I also think the yeah. Okay.
I have like just a grammatical thing, which seems to just be my thing tonight. But
Thank you.
or the city will release an RFP and which will remain open for 4 to 6 weeks.
Yes.
I did this late at night.
No, I completely understand.
No judgment.
And then just changing it to 4 to 6 weeks instead of from 4 to 6 weeks.
Ah, yes. Any other thoughts in general, or do we want to go section by section just to double check, or?
I guess just since we kind of skipped over it, can you expand on the including those that also serve other communities?
Yeah, I think that part needs to be
Oh,
fine-tuned.
yeah. So the reason that where did I put that? Sorry.
Now it's under application requirements, the first
There
paragraph.
it is.
Yeah. The
Okay. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
yeah.
Oh, up here.
Yeah, right there. That first part
I
of that.
see.
Okay, yeah.
So the reason I had put that was because this last awarding of funds, there was, from what I could tell, it sounded like the awarding of funds were prioritized to groups that were solely dedicated to, helping Philomath community members, as opposed to like a county group that will also serve, several other community members from several other communities. And my reason for that is just that there are some really important issues that they cover. Of course, I can't think of an example at the moment.
Jessica, I'll just comment that that's actually not accurate, because many of the organizations that we fund are region-wide. I would say almost most of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Isn't
like ABC House, is it Fish? Vina Moses. Those are all regional.
Right.
Yeah, I meant more so from because we have the two different sets of funding. We have the Vinamoses and Fish, and we have the ones that are like ABC House and Maxtivity and Philomath Community Services. And
Yeah, so just pointing out that we have categories in both of those. We fund organizations that are not just for Philomath, they're definitely regional. But we've always done that.
If I can say, Philomath Community Services even is more regional than just Philomath. It's, mostly Benton or Western Benton County, but there's even individuals from Corvallis that are served through them.
okay.
But they do
My
keep
mistake.
keep track of where people come from.
Mhm.
I guess, or sorry, Miss Nielsen, did you want to say something?
I just said we have to rephrase that. I think the phrasing on that, including those that also serve other communities, opens things up for, it's just worded in a way that is awkward. I understand what you're saying about making sure we have regional, that it isn't just solely for those. But that verbiage and wordage is just, I don't know if it's exactly what we
Yeah.
want in that.
I guess, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no. Could it be something like to better the enrichment of Philomath citizens and our local neighbors, or I mean our local neighboring groups? Because could it be just a complete change of that?
Good, it's gentler.
I guess my thing is like, I totally get the intent and I support it. I'm just, do we even need to say that? Because I feel like we should have the requirement that it will benefit Philomath citizens. If we also benefit people in Blodgett, fantastic, that's great. But I don't think we should fund something that will only benefit people in Blodgett and not Philomath, So I think leaving it like it was with will benefit Philomath citizens during the time period for which funding is requested. I mean, I guess we want to add something to clarify that like it could be a countywide organization or something, that's okay. But like, I think we need to keep the emphasis. I mean, it just, because, this is not our money. This is
Yeah.
like Philomath taxes. And I think it should stay
And
within.
these are recommendations. as
Right.
it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Like, I'd love to, build a new library in Blodgett, but that's not our problem. So I guess that's just my one concern is like, I feel like the current language almost covers what we want anyway, but that might just be me.
No, I agree. I
I
think
do as well. I do as well.
I propose that we just remove the parts that are between the two commas.
Yes.
How, Maeve, Cindy, Zena, I wasn't sure how you felt. I couldn't tell from your head nods.
Oh, I'm fine.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
I agree as well. I don't think that part is necessary. I think the one thing, I'm not sure if others find this an issue or I'm overthinking, but I always get a little squinchy at the term citizens. Because, like, are we going to be serving, are we also including organizations that serve like undocumented folks or, maybe houseless folks who move around but are in Philomath, and might benefit from that. So I wonder if thank you.
Yeah.
I
Is
love that.
that the word you want, community members? Okay.
I think
like
that
that.
sounds perfect. It leaves it open to me anyway.
I think
Sounds
I
good.
think it's much more inclusive.
Totally. Van? Oh, you're muted.
I would like to add, and not to put in here, but through United Way, they ask all organizations that are asking for money from them, which are same organizations that ask for funds from Philomath. They ask them to document or state, if you will, where the citizens that they serve are coming from. So even if the city wanted to have some like you have to serve, 75% of the people have to be from Philomath or something like that. Or, some criteria about that. They could do that if they wanted. I'm not saying they should, but I'm just saying it is possible because it has to be tracked anyway for United Way.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for that. Does anyone have any thoughts on that, or?
I think in our application that we ask how many Philomath citizens that they've benefited in last year. Do you have a copy of the application here or no?
So.
Chris, is that correct? Are you there still? Chris Workman?
I think
I'm
you're
here. Sorry.
right. Yeah, I remember hearing numbers before.
I know it asks for the number, Mayor Jones. I don't know if it uses the term citizen or resident. I don't remember what the exact term is.
I guess I'm personally not as caught up on like an exact ratio of people from Philomath they need to serve, because I also think that could be difficult for some organizations to pin down. If they're offering services like anonymously or something like that. So just personally, I'm not as pressed about that, but yeah.
Or again, if people live in the, like I do, in the weird rural growth area between Philomath and Corvallis, you're like in this no man's zone. And so, I don't know.
And I do think that it's important because this is Philomath taxpayers' citizen money, that it's important that we actually are supporting Philomath residents that live within city limits as much as possible. But I think that we're already doing that. And I think that our existing application already, gets at that when we ask how many Philomath citizens or residents are served by the organization.
Van, did you, I guess Chaz did this, or Mayor Jones just said. Yeah.
The third bullet point under applicants shall provide, do you see that on the bottom? See the third bullet point? What funds will be used for? I think we can restate that purpose of funds requested or something of that such, rather than what the funds will be used for. I think we should restate that one as well. I mean, we can if we choose to.
I know how to spell. Nope. Purpose of funds, you said?
Or purpose, yes. Or purpose, yeah, we just need to look. I don't think what the funds will be used for. I think purpose of
Requested funds?
Purpose of requested funds, yes. Of requested funds.
Additional thoughts.
Can you go back up to the part where that setting priorities thing? It just seemed like the language was kind of odd. Maybe something along an as needed basis rather than a needs basis. I don't know. It also seemed like, I think that you said you would do this later, but moving the periodically words up above.
Yeah. I mean, I can try again this time with cutting and pasting, because I didn't
fine.
try that last time.
It's a lot of pressure under. And then my other my other comment is that city priorities hyphen is just weird. I think that should be deleted, the city priorities.
And like make it a sentence. Like that.
Were you just saying just go straight to like incorporate practices of equity, diversity, and inclusion?
Well, there should be some sort of preface or some sort of statement that gets at what we're getting ready to do with the bullet points. And right now we're not doing that. So like maybe it should be city priorities must include comma and then, or must include semicolon or colon, and then the next incorporate is a new bullet.
Right, I think so too.
I guess I'm just confused by the wording of city priorities must include.
Oh, yeah, right.
Just like, or should it be like
Yeah.
grant priority, or like I feel like it's the city council's job to set city priorities, not,
Right, exactly.
yeah.
Um,
Can it just say priorities?
Funding priority.
Yeah,
That makes more
Priorities.
sense.
That's better. Funding priorities, I like that.
yeah.
And I don't think we necessarily need must include. I think it could be just funding priorities and then a semicolon. Couldn't we?
Yeah, and I think that covers then too, if there's something that's like that's like adjacent to one of those or something, but it's not quite.
so get rid of this last part. Is that what?
Yes. Yes.
Well, I feel like,
We need it. We just need it somewhere.
yeah, don't
not
get rid of it.
Else?
Make it a bullet point.
Yes.
That makes sense.
And then I think each of the bullet points should start with a verb rather than that must. So probably get rid of must and put
Like
incorporating.
Great.
Yeah, okay.
Oops.
Maybe, yeah.
Should it be in the? I never know what they're called. The ing, like.
Yeah, like
Gerund.
Yeah. Thank you.
look at that.
Woohoo.
And then I guess this is just like a very small thing on combating homelessness, and can we just make it singular instead of plural, just housing insecurity?
You are missing.
Yes.
And then I was and maybe instead of incorporating, maybe it's promoting, or because we always say what we're incorporating it into.
Can we just get rid of that whole word and just do practicing equity, inclusion, and diversity, or is that too simple? Just throwing it out there on the table.
Or promoting equity and inclusion and diversity.
Good.
I don't know. I feel like whatever we put there, people are going to get the idea.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
am
think-
writing down options to see what.
Oh, it's fine.
I think that we shouldn't get so hung up on the words. I mean, it's important, but I think that we should also, just know that this is here and it's our intention. And that as things evolve, as all of that happens, it'll evolve too.
My goal is to make it so that the city council doesn't have to spend the same amount of time rewording and rephrasing. So
Yes.
True.
Okay, so I guess I'll take a straw poll. Oh, Van?
Yeah. Well, now that where you've changed it, the city funding priorities, you should either say must or drop all the INGs on there. City funding priorities, incorporate practices.
includes,
Yes.
Yeah. Should we say city funding priorities shall include?
or just includes, I think.
Okay. Well, but wait, we can't say priorities. Yeah. Okay. Just include. Just
Right.
If
saying.
you say
It's-
incorporate practices of equity, then they would be sentences, but they're not as it is. And so you're
You meant to get
you're-
rid of the gerunds.
But if we put include, then they're complete sentences, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
all right. Yes,
Okay.
that would work. Yeah, that'd work the same way. Yeah.
Don't capitalize include. Sorry.
Okay. And then keep funding priorities capitalized or lowercase those.
Lowercase. I would lowercase them.
Okay. And how does everyone feel who hasn't voiced their opinion? Does this look good?
Looks good to me.
Cool. Zena? Yeah, okay, cool. And did people want incorporating or did we want promoting or practicing or,
I don't think it's going to make a big difference. So I vote we move on.
Yeah, I like incorporating more than promoting, because to promote something, all you have to say is, I agree that this is a good idea, but incorporating
Mhm.
says that you're actually taking action
Embedding.
steps.
yeah. Cool. Okay. Any more thoughts in general, or like big picture or details, or
Did you remove the A up top for criteria?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Oh, and then this, the only reason, so I had written down what the amount was of 35% of the estimated state revenue sharing. I had asked Chris about that. And in 2021, it was 22,000. Just for people's references.
The only other thing that I'm struggling with is above the city funding, that on a needs basis, how would we explain how that is? So if we have,
Oh, yeah.
how that seems kind of vague on a needs basis, because everyone who applies is going to have a need. So how are we going to decide? Do you see how that feels kind of awkward?
Yeah, and I just realized I forgot to.
Going to have a need. So we need to find a way of saying that in a different way. To organizations.
I mean,
Does, oh, go ahead.
well, I almost know, like, do we need to say that? Because I feel like need is just determined by, do you meet these city funding priorities and do you have a use for the funds? Then you have a need.
Right.
I guess that's sort of my calculation, unless if I'm misreading what the intent was there.
But do we even need that whole sentence? Do we need awards will be given to organizations, because they know that we're going to give awards to organizations? I worry about, as needs or as needed.
Yeah, I will say the thought process behind that was just because we had an ask for, so I think we had an ask for more money than we actually had this last year. And instead of spreading out the reduction across the organizations, it was decided that one didn't need as much as the others because they had received funding at another time or something to that effect. But I don't remember which organization it was, but it felt much more like they definitely needed more funds and were deeply impacted by COVID, in my opinion. Cindy?
Can we add that to the funding priorities instead of having it above there that just says, like demonstrating a financial need?
Ah, I see.
Or something like that, like something about, I'm thinking like that's how we phrase it on scholarships, like that a criteria is financial need. So I'm just wondering if we could phrase that as a criteria or as a funding priority. Yeah.
Here or?
I was thinking above where we put the priorities, the funding priorities.
Oh, so still in, okay.
Yeah. City funding priorities include, and then something about financial need.
I guess if that's what people want to do, I'm happy to do it. I just have still some concerns about like what that actually means, and because like there are some nonprofits and stuff that are super well funded, and they're very big organizations, but they do incredible work. And maybe getting additional funding could allow them to like start a new program or something. And I guess I'm just a little concerned, like what is financial need when it comes to like charity work, because it feels like every possibility is financial need. But I may be just overthinking it, and I'm sure we'll be fine with whatever we do. That's just sort of where my concern is.
I totally understand that concern and struggled with that as well. But I was just like, I feel like I need to do something. Cindy, did you have more to say on that? Okay. Van?
I guess I understand what Christopher's talking about, but I think we can ask them to, demonstrate a need, and doesn't mean we can't fund them,
Mhm,
but it gives you that, wiggle room, if you will,
mhm.
to decide not to, if the case may be, and I apologize. Something that's just come up. I have to leave the meeting. I apologize. I may be able to get back, but I apologize. I'm sorry.
Thanks for being here,
That's
Van.
not a
Really appreciate it.
problem. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming.
yeah.
So Jessica, if we include the demonstrating a financial need, can we then delete that awards will be given to organizations part that's in
I-
that setting?
I
We've
already
took that
deleted
off?
it. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I just have one more comment about this, then I promise.
No,
I guess then my only other thing is just if it feels a little weird in the bullet points there, because all the other ones are like, this is who we aspire to be as a city, sort of like, equitable, inclusive, diverse,
Mm,
with good
valid point.
services for underserved populations, with housing, with, health. And then there's this sort of other one that seems a little weird, which again, I completely understand the residents of Philomath do not care exactly how we word this, and it will achieve the same thing, but it just feels a little weird.
Maeve?
Yeah, so I'm wondering if the aspect of demonstrating a financial need actually falls under what we already have under application requirements, where it talks about what the money will be used for, like the purpose of
Mhm.
funds. And if that doesn't just encompass it, and if it does not, that this seems like the area where we would want to add a bullet about demonstrating financial need if we decided to keep it, if we felt it wasn't folded in already.
Mhm.
We
Yeah,
all,
no, oh, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, could we just do like purpose of and need for requested funds or something?
Yeah, demonstrates purpose of and needs, or just purpose
I
of.
think, yeah, just leaving it like we have purpose of requested funds, but then just like, so you have to provide organizational information that includes purpose of and need for the requested funds or something. But again, if people dislike that, I'm not attached to it.
Like that.
Yeah, I mean that's what was in my brain.
What do people think? That, or move the other thing back down here, or just leave as is? Cindy, it looked like you're going to say something.
I think having something down here sounds good, and I think either or sounds good to me.
Okay. Here, let me... Okay. So I'll just put them side by side for now. People to consider. Or adjacent to one another vertically. So does anyone have a strong opinion on either?
On either keeping them together or making them separate? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, either having the purpose of and need for requested funds, or demonstrating a financial need. Like choosing one of them, or to separate, like you said, separate out purpose and need in the demonstrating.
I think one bullet to me feels less clunky.
Yeah, I agree. And
Okay.
could that be purpose slash need for requested, get rid of some of those words? I just want to.
It's okay, Teresa, we're not paying by the word.
I hear you. I
Okay.
just think that demonstrating a financial need puts a whole new twist in that applicant process, because that means they might have to, are we asking for their yearly budgetary thing? Are we asking for them to show, I think that puts a whole new twist on what we're asking the applicant to do. Are we asking
That's
them
what
to
I was
submit
thinking.
that piece of their yearly, statement of, and I don't know if we want to go there. But that's just one thought.
Maeve?
Yeah,
Because-
I agree with that, Teresa. I'll be interested to see what Chris says, but one, I don't know that we want to like rope ourselves into like paying an accountant to look at,
Yes.
like scrutinize these things, if that's not the purpose of what we're doing here. And I think that, I think the entire concept of assessing and judging a person's stated or an entity's stated need is inherently subjective. And
Mhm.
I don't know that we can really separate what we believe their needs are versus their quote unquote objective needs.
Mhm.
Which is why I'm more in favor of purpose for requested funds, because we can decide that is subjective. We can decide if that is a purpose that we are interested in, but we can't really decide if that's a need for somebody else or not.
Thank you for that. Chris, did you want to say something?
Yeah, just as part of the application process, we do require them to submit their financials for the last fiscal year. So that is something that the committee has access to. It generally doesn't move forward to the city council once the recommendation's been made by the finance admin committee. But the finance admin committee does look at the budget and the financial statements for each of their organizations as part of the application process.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
So should that be in there instead of financial need?
Should what be in there?
What Chris just mentioned about.
Well, he said it's in the application, so
Okay.
it
Alright.
doesn't need to be specifically in here. Zena,
And then,
what were you? Oh,
go ahead, Zena.
I was just pretty much gonna say the same thing, like how can you try to quantify somebody else's need? And so anyways, but I'm good.
And let's make that demonstrate instead of demonstrating.
Well, wait, so which one of these are we keeping?
yeah, I was
Are
just
we
about to
both?
say.
Yeah.
Um,
I kind of like
I-
the first as far as the need for requested funds. Purpose slash or whatever purpose and need for requested or need for.
Maeve, what sounds good to you?
I'm fairly opposed to the word need. If that's already in the application, then like to me that base is covered. And the purpose is like more how we are assigning these things, right? Because if it was just a numbers game, then we wouldn't need any of this in there, but we're asking people to like advocate for like how they are doing this work and like what they are actively doing as an organization to serve these city priorities that we've listed. And if like I think that it's difficult to ascribe need to something like social justice work. Because some people will agree that it's a need and some people will not agree that it's a need. And some people will, say that like, this is completely subjective anyway. Why are we doing all this? So it feels like if our goal is to be numbers driven, then demonstrating a financial need, I think, is the way to go. But to me, with the priorities that we've listed, which are not at all really quantitative, they're more qualitative. I think that, to me, purpose encompasses that alignment more effectively than need does.
Thank you for that.
Well
Zena?
stated, Mary. I agree.
I also think that it puts this really sort of uncomfortable spin on it when maybe you are in the BIPOC community and you don't want to just be another number. And like, I guess I think Maeve said it really well. That it's more of what we're achieving, maybe what we hope to achieve, instead of this is our number goal. Because if we're looking at metrics, then I don't know, it would be all messed up at this point. But
Thank you for that. Cindy, have any thoughts?
I think that all makes perfect sense. I think that sounds like really good feedback to me.
Okay, thank you. And Christopher, I believe you had said the same as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think purpose works. I think the other difference between, because like Cindy brought it up, and it's completely right that, you know, we do talk about financial need with like scholarships and stuff. I think the big difference between this and scholarships is that there is like a cost of living to be a human, and that's pretty much the same for everyone. You know, there's like a level of money you need to have have a healthy, comfortable life. But that's not the case for these types of service organizations. Some of them have no paid staff and like almost no operating costs, and all the money they get goes directly towards the community. Some have a big paid staff and they have facilities and they have a lot of operating costs. So it's just really, it's not the same ballpark to judge need, because there isn't like a cost of living for a service organization that's the same for everyone like there is for human beings.
Mhm. Thank you. Okay, so this is the correct wording, right? I didn't misinterpret. Okay, cool beans. Any more things that we should address?
That fifth bullet point, or 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth bullet point, is that what we want as a policy in regards to, or could it be more clear?
If I can just chime in on that, sort of the background, and then we can, I think I wrote that just based on our conversation from a couple meetings ago, where we wanted to make sure that like, if there are organizations that have not achieved those goals yet, but are actively working towards it, that they would still be eligible. Because, you know, I think the unfortunate reality is that a lot of organizations probably don't have boards that adequately represent the community, but what we want to see is that they're making an effort and that they're making progress towards it. And then we will be happy to, like, we want to encourage people to change, not punish people for not being there yet, I think was the that.
Thank you, Christopher. Thoughts from anyone on that? Looks like Maeve agrees. Cindy, yeah, cool. Zena? Since I'm not hearing from you, I'm guessing cool. Same with the mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. And okay. Any more thoughts on things? Sorry, not necessarily that bullet. Chris?
Do we lose anything by taking out the if any clause in that last bullet point? Just leaving it description of efforts made by organization. Keeps a more positive spin on it.
Whatever. I think we put that in there just because we wanted to, like, you know, if you haven't made any tell us. But if people want to take it out, that's fine.
It does sound a bit more encouraging to leave out the if any.
Okay, looks like Cindy agrees. Maeve, yeah. Zena, Mayor, speak now or I'll change it. Changing it, I will do. Chris, did you have another thing to say or did you forget to lower your hand? Okay, cool.
I think that not to nitpick, but like that's a really interesting way to put that, because just as a person that does a lot of justice work, I'm generally the only person of color involved. So when it says represents the interest and experiences, a lot of people don't have the experience of being a person of color. So like, I think, I don't know, just saying maybe that could be better. Not to nitpick.
Can you give an example or, oh, go ahead, Maeve.
Well, I might be off base. I thought that the purpose of that bullet was to say that if you are like intentionally an organization representing specific interests for people of color, that you have people of color on your board, as opposed to like a bunch of non-POC people deciding that they're helping the POC community, like not about us, without us.
Yeah, and I think we wanted to keep it broad too. So like if you're an organization that serves seniors, make sure you have seniors on your board. If you're an organization that serves youth, make sure you have youth on your board. If you serve women, make sure you have women on your board, etc. And it, you know, and again, I think the hope is not that like you have to be there right now, but that you are making progress towards meeting that in the near future, hopefully.
That makes more sense, because so few of the organizations I know would meet those criteria at all.
Right.
Despite the wonderful efforts that have been put forth, it's just
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's sort of, it's like, at least in my brain, it's the same idea as like, if you know that on your college application, you're going to have to list like, you know, community service things you did, that's a great reason to go out and do some community service things. The same thing as like, if these organizations know that on their grant application, they're going to have to list how they're making their board more inclusive or more representative, that's a great reason to go out and make their board more representative. So we're just sort of like dangling the little carrot of money to encourage them to work on that.
I like that. I like that explanation. Sometimes it's just awareness and reminders. I think people have been good intentions, and in any volunteer organization, it's sometimes hard to get board members. I know in the organizations I work with, it's difficult to even get people sometimes as board members. But to make people mindful of that is a good thing, of having that representation. That's a good reminder.
Zena? It looked like you were going to say something earlier.
Nah, I'm good.
Okay. Should I review each section to see if there's anything else, any last minute items that you want to change or edits to make? We got the purpose, the mission, and the funding source. Don't see anything. Maeve? No. Christopher? No. Cindy?
And now, is that equity, inclusion, and diversity underlined in the bullet points of diversity funding?
Here, no,
Are those things, what I'm asking is when it's printed, are those things going to be underlined or not?
no. Here,
Okay.
I can, here, let me change it actually. There we go. This is what it would look like.
Okay,
Is
thanks. I
this
just need-
helpful?
Yes, thank you. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Okay. Zena, do you see anything?
No, it looks all right.
Mayor, I didn't see your head. Okay, cool. Now here's setting, oh, here, let's do setting priorities. I will delete that last bullet point. I guess I can do that now. actually. Hmm. I'm sorry, if anyone nodded their head, I totally missed it. Or gave thumbs. Christopher looks good. Cindy looks good. Zena, was that a head nod? Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Zena looks good. Maeve, Mayor Jones, yeah. Councilor Nielsen?
Can I just, one specific, sorry.
Yeah,
Do
no,
do
you're good.
equity, inclusion, and diversity need to be capitalized?
I mean, I had left it that way only because I had it in the like
Okay,
subheader or whatever. But
grammatically, I don't think they need to in that sentence grammatically, but if you want
They
them
don't.
capitalized for a purpose, then
uh,
as emphasis, I
either
guess.
or.
Okay, so grammatically they would not be, but if that is, sorry, that's it.
No, you're good.
And this is
I
where
had just cut and pasted, so.
Okay.
Counselor Nielsen reminds us all of her former profession.
Sorry. I know my husband always teasing me, Teresa, not everyone cares about grammar. Not everyone cares.
It's all right. I
Okay.
learned from you.
Okay.
Okay, lowercase, anyone? It looks like Councilor Nielsen would like them lowercase.
But
See,
I
yeah,
will,
Cindy.
you know, the majority, if that's what you want, that's what we can. Maeve, what do you think?
And Zena?
Doesn't bother me either way.
Okay.
I don't, it doesn't bother me.
Okay.
Sorry, my dog is just taking the bowl out of its container and licking it.
Okay, quick time check. It is 6:55, so before going on to the next sections, I wanted to say that I am interested in learning more about how people think this is going with the structure that we have had for the Inclusivity Committee, and whether, like, what kinds of things that we may need to change, things that I can do to help empower you to facilitate a meeting or to feel prepared for a meeting. And so I'll be sending a survey out in the near future. And we will also, oh, I guess I'm no longer sharing a screen. And hopefully we won't get any more tasks from council at our next meeting so that we can do some discussing of our goals and objectives and such. It would be really helpful for our next meeting if we had, if we were ready to go with that. I can work to try to get some sort of structure together. We recently did this in my in the committee I serve on at Benton County, NRAC, the Environmental Natural Resources Advisory Committee. So I have a better idea of how to potentially lead us through that. So if there's anything else people want to send, please send it to me as soon as possible. And is there anyone who would like to be co-chair for next meeting? No pressure either way. I don't want to pressure people. I realized when I spoke with people last time that there may have been some pressure. Okay. If I'm, oh, Christopher, did you want
Just
to?
as a general rule, I'm always happy to, on the condition that not a single other living soul is interested. So I just want to put that out there.
Okay. Well, if you would like to, then go ahead. Otherwise, I'll just facilitate and such.
It seems like no other living soul is interested. So by my own admission, I now must co-chair the meeting.
Okay. So Christopher will be the next co-chair. And oh yes, I will also send out the edited version of what we worked on today, the social media policy. If you could send back anything I missed, any additional edits that you have, and I can compile that all together and present it to City Council. Am I missing anything? Does anyone have any announcements? Questions?
Jessica, I
Let's say
had
you-
one thing.
Uh-huh.
Did we want to, I know it was in the packet that we got, the city council packet, so not everyone reads the packet that goes out, but did we ever want to discuss the proposal that Councillor Lowe made in regards to that? Or do we want to wait for the city council to discuss it first and then bring it to our inclusivity committee? Or...
So, yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I was intending to email Councillor Lowe because I wasn't, the way that he worded his email, I wasn't quite sure if he meant a commission like the Planning Commission or a commission like NRAC that I'm on, like where it's something completely separate. And that's part of the reason why I also want to get a survey. Not only is it just like the main thing is like it is important to know how this is going, but in addition, that will help with that discussion at the council level, I hope. And I can send out that email if people are interested in seeing what Councillor Lowe had written. Yeah, okay, I will do that.
I think it was just nice to have the perspective of the inclusivity members to discuss and how their vision for what they, and what would be the best platform for that vision to be accomplished is what I'm hoping to get maybe from the survey and from response to that email would be helpful.
Yeah, thank you. That makes total sense to have that with the survey to help inform whether, yeah.
Right.
Cool, thank you. Anything else? No? Okay, well, it is 7 o'clock on the dot. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a
Jessica.
great night.